So I'm just switching the internet to my hotspot. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud that I made up that term. Student, I'm not. Who was here last year? Okay, I promise that this talk won't be as depressing as last year. Okay, so I'm glad we covered that. So, guten Morgen. That's all my German, even though I live in Berlin. I also know how to say airport, Flughafen, and that's about it. So my talk is called Build Dumb Shit, and I feel like it's very appropriate for the morning, as like everyone is half asleep, and so we're just gonna have some fun looking at dumb things that we built on the internet. Apparently, that's what actually transpires into the normal world. What I've been told is that what we do, as in like to-do apps, no one cares in the real world. But like when we make dumb shit, people in the actual like normal, the muggles, care. Which is weird, but that's what goes on Hacker News, and then you get hate comments. It's great. Okay. How many of you work in products or startups or like anything like that? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Keep your hands up if the company you work for thinks they're gonna change the world as a startup and a company. You can't even change Berlin, sum up. You still don't get cards, goddammit. Okay, so the point of it is pretty much all of them think they're gonna change the world. And what I wanted to get with this is that if everyone changes the world, then no one changes the world. It's like if everything is a div, then nothing is a div. So my name is Sarah. I'm a developer. I'm a maker. I don't know what that means, but I had shit on Product Hunt, and I'm pretty sure that's what it means. And I didn't put it there, so I'm pretty sure what being a maker is when you have like 2 things on Product Hunt, and they're like, you're a maker. And I'm like, I guess. Cool. And I just want to point out that I'm also like an utter and complete idiot. I'm an idiot, and like I am okay with that. And we have a person in my company that just does GIFs. That's her entire job. So basically, I have an entire website with just meme pictures of myself, and I'm okay with that, because I'm a fucking idiot, and that's fine. I'm a part of a JavaScript comedy club. It's called Componented Smoosh. I am not even kidding. This is a real thing. We did shows. We got money. People actually donated to our thing, so I'm technically like a paid comedian now, which is great. And basically, I am here to convince you to build dumb things, to build dumb shit for the internet, and to make the internet as cool as it used to be. And I want to point out this phrase that I heard from a friend of mine called Charlie, as you can tell by the username on Twitter. She's a developer from the Australia. I don't know why it's the Australia, but Australia. And she makes a lot of weird stuff with IoT devices. And once she did a talk at JavaScript EU, because she's fancy, and she said in her talk that useless is now worthless. And I think this is really important. Just because something you build is useless, like most of the things that I build are useless. Most of the things that she builds are kind of useless. She made like a penis detector. That's fucking useless. Ain't no one gonna use that. I mean, actually Reddit once had a penis detector. I found that out. But just because something is useless, it doesn't mean that it's worthless. It doesn't mean that there's no point of you building it. It just means that most of the population will be like, but why? And you're like, I don't know. What? Okay, so I want to start by pointing out the 3 main reasons that we build things. And I think the first one is because they will change the world. And I want to ask a very serious question, that is, what? Oh, okay, yeah, no, sorry. And the second one is because they will make us rich. And the third one is because they will help us learn. So I'm going to start with the first one, and the first one is because they will change the world. And I want to ask a very serious question, is that even good? Because you can change the world in very terrible ways. War technically changes the world. Bitcoin changed the world. I'm just going to stop there. But like, I just want to ask, like, is that even good? Because that depends on what you're building. That depends on what you're doing. I believe that most companies think that when they change it, they're changing it for good, but maybe they're not. And I want to give like 3 examples of this, and one of them is Uber. So Uber completely changed the way we do transport. At least, I mean, you don't have Uber. You know what I mean. Other cities have Uber. Most cities have. Even Portugal has Uber, for fuck's sake. And even if you don't use Uber, if you use My Taxi, or if you use Cabify, or one of the 300 app taxi providers that exist right now, they all started from Uber. Uber was the first one that I was like, what if we get random people to go inside cars? And basically, like, every time people's, like, their parents said, don't get into strangers' cars, they just go into their strangers' cars. What if we do that? And people were like, what? That is insane. And so Uber started all of this. But the real question is, like, did Uber actually make the world a better place? Or did it just change it? Because there's a big difference between you changing the world and you actually making the world a better place. And the answer is, depends on who you ask. That's the thing, because if you ask someone who literally doesn't care about anyone who's driving for Uber and just uses it to go to the airport, then yeah, it made the world a way better place. But if you ask anyone who gets 30% of their paycheck cut down by an app, it may have not made the world a better place. There's also a ton of taxi drivers that are really mad about that. But taxi drivers are not the kindest people in Portugal, so I'm actually slightly happy about that. I'm like, well, shit happens. If only you were nice. You know, what would have happened if you were nice? So it depends a lot on who you ask. That's my point. Another example is Airbnb. Airbnb is great. Fucking love Airbnb. Airbnb really changed like the way that we do housing, like the way we travel and do housing. Like if I'm gonna stay somewhere for a week, I'm not gonna rent in a hotel. I'm most likely gonna rent an Airbnb. But the thing is, did Airbnb make the world a better place? Because it did change it completely. Like not as many people use hotels as they used to, but did it actually make the world a better place? Again, that depends on who you ask. Because if you ask someone who uses it as a consumer, like, to me it did, for example, but that's because I moved away from my hometown. For anyone in my hometown, it didn't, because we don't have any laws for Airbnb, and Amsterdam, I think, suffers from the same problem, which is we don't have any laws for Airbnb, but we have a lot of laws when you rent things to people, so it's cheaper to rent them as an Airbnb. So students are now living in the streets in Porto because they have no houses, because everything is a fucking Airbnb. So again, depends on who you ask. Spotify. Okay, so Spotify completely changed how we stream things. I don't know how to illegally download music off the internet anymore. And I was really good at it. Like, it was one of my many, many skills. And I honestly just use Spotify. Like, I'm fine with that. I just pay their premium fee, and I just have music everywhere, and it's great. But the thing is, that Spotify, even though it changed the world, did it make the world a better place? Yes, Spotify's great. Spotify's fucking great, and Taylor Swift is a dick for not using Spotify. Okay, but my point here is, if you're not Sweden and you don't really just make wholesome things like IKEA and Spotify, changing the world doesn't always mean you make it better. There are several ways that you can change the world and make it way worse, even if that's not your intention in the first place. You may think that you're doing a great thing like Airbnb or like Uber, but doing it causes repercussions that you didn't even think were a thing. That is, I think Uber knows what they're doing, but Airbnb looks decent. I don't think they know what they're doing. And it causes some repercussions, mainly in poor cities and cities that have a lot of taxes on like renting houses that you don't really think about. And then a lot of problems start to occur. So I just want to point out that just because you change the world, it doesn't mean you make it better. If SumUp starts making cards a thing in Berlin, they did make it better. So please, for the love of God. And I want to point out, like, you know what makes the world a better place? And it doesn't really have a lot of repercussions in the real world. Making people smile. If you make people smile, if they're having a shitty day, that itself makes the world a better place. That doesn't give you any money, and it doesn't, like, make you really famous, but it technically makes the world a better place, because you just made someone who was having a terrible day smile a bit. And you can do that by building dumb shit. And thank you, that's my talk. So, yes, mic drop. I don't have a mic. Well, I feel like Dan Abramov now, where I drink water where people clap. Did anyone watch that talk? That was weird timing. Okay, so the second reason that I have, and thank you, second one that I have is because they will make us rich. I really cannot help you there. Like, I really can't. Like, have you looked at me? Everyone just assumes that I have less than 1,000 euros in my bank account. I wouldn't, like, not be wearing Primark clothes and, like, living in a tiny T1 apartment in fucking Mitte if I could help you. Mitte's great. So next thing, I can really help you there. I have no idea. If you find out, let me know. I could use some of that. Okay, so the third one, and I think the main reason, mainly when we're learning things, when we're learning a framework or something, is that we build things because they will help us learn. Excuse me. And I want to say that from my understanding and from my experience, you learn things way better and way, that is like, that's not still water, and I'm just like, damn. You learn things way better when you're making something you like, when you're making something that makes you happy. And so I did two things. I searched on Code Sandbox and I searched on CodePen for a to-do app. Fucking CodePen doesn't tell you how many pens there are, but Code Sandbox does. And Code Sandbox has been up for a year and a half. There are 32,755 to-do apps. Damn, son. So just Wunderlist already won, and there's a lot of to-do apps, and the idea is that please stop making to-do apps, and do not make, like, movie apps. That's the same thing. Like, I hate when people are like, I didn't make a to-do app. I made, like, a list of movies that I want to watch. I'm like, that's literally a to-do app, but you changed the word to-do with movie app. It's exactly the same functionality. So the idea is that a ton of people have made to-do apps. A ton of people have made these things because that's the way every single framework mostly teaches us how to build things. I still remember that the Angular 1, the documentation was really like, let's make a to-do app. And I was like, this is cool. And then every single one of them was to make a to-do app. And I was like, this isn't cool anymore. Thank you. So I want to say that I've learned so much. Like, I've learned an incredible amount of things by making dumb shit. By just, like, picking up a computer, making something that the world thinks it's fucking stupid, but it's out there, and I made it. And, like, I have learned so much by it. It made me a way better developer. So one of the first things that I did was when I wanted to learn AJAX. So as a backtrack of that story, I was in, I didn't go to college. I went to this really weird thing we have in Portugal that's like a year and a half. I don't know what the name of that is. I don't think it's a thing anywhere else. But so it started at 6 p.m. and ended at 10 p.m. So yeah, that's not a thing anywhere else. And so as an adult that I every day woke up at 1 p.m. So what happened was I really wanted to know if it was raining outside. Like, I just wanted to know, but I was too lazy to actually go up and, like, open the blinds of my room. So when I wanted to learn how to, like, do AJAX, I was like, I can make a website. Just, guys, wait. I can make a website that just literally tells you if it's raining outside. And so I did. I bought the domain, which I think was, like, the second ever domain or the first domain that I ever bought. And I made a website that it checks your geolocation, goes to an API, and tells you if there is rain outside. That's all it does. That is the entire purpose of this website in the world. And the thing is, I lost it, so I remade it. And so this is what it shows. So basically, you go to, is it raining out? It's just a weird domain, but I bought the same domain, and it says no or yes, and it says, like, it's 3 degrees Celsius and partly cloudy. This is how it always is in Berlin, by the way. That's like permanent weather. And yeah, so that's the thing, and it exists on the internet. And what I want to point is that I have actually learned a ton about AJAX when I was doing this. Not this version. I know AJAX now, I promise. The older version that was done with jQuery and everything, and that's how I learned how to get stuff from an API and actually put it in a web page. So after a couple of times, I wanted to learn how to make post-CSS plugins. So that's what we used at my old company in the start. When we started using React, we started with post-CSS. And I wanted to learn how to make post-CSS plugins because I really liked it. I really like CSS. I know that's weird, but I like CSS. CSS is cool. I also put it in my JS now, so. So I wanted to learn how to make post-CSS plugins. So I made this, which is not very readable, but what it does is that we had a problem with importance in my company. That was because I found out when I joined that company that not every front-end developer likes CSS. And I was just shocked and amazed. I was like, what? This was like 4 years ago. And so I realized that we had a lot of problems with importance. So what I did as an adult, again, is that I made a plugin that if you write important in your CSS, it just ignores it completely. Like, it does nothing. And instead of writing important, you have to write curse words in Portuguese. This was in Portugal, obviously. For it to actually, so like the plugin makes those curse words become important. So what I did as an adult was that I deleted all of the importance. I replaced all of that with caralho, and pushed that shit to master, and told them that now they needed to use curse words instead of important. And weirdly enough, people stopped using important because they were ashamed. And it actually worked. So that was good. That was a really good thing. So now there's like 30 languages or something. People really like curse words. So when I started using style components, I wanted to do the same thing for Babel. So I made the exact same thing for Babel. It basically, like, if you write important, does nothing. So it works for style components and emotion. So the next thing was that there's a lot of stuff that I'm not putting here, trust me. So a couple of months ago, I wanted to learn how to do things with Socket.io. Like, I've never actually, like, I thought Socket.io was this magic that just talked between computers. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but that sounds scary. And so I got to a point where I wanted to learn how to make random things with Socket.io. So I made this, which is a magic piano. So what happens is you go to the website magicpiano.now.sh, because that's basically the first one that I didn't buy a domain for, and you play the piano with anyone that's on the website, and that's literally it. And to do that, I had to learn Socket.io, and I needed to build a node server that would actually make everyone communicate with each other and be able to hear what other people are playing. And then someone even made rooms and shit, which was pretty nice. And then I also made one with drums. I don't know, I had too much free time. So this one is like, play drums with the world. It's magicdrums.now.sh. Okay, so the next thing was that I really like Vue, as in, like, Vue is just nice. There's no hate in Vue. It's so nice. It's just nice. People are just friendly and nice. I don't know. We did karaoke. It was great. So I know I'm really into GraphQL, and I wanted to, like, figure out how to use GraphQL with Vue, as I've never did. Like, I've only used it with either Node or React. So what I did was I made a website with meme photos of myself, because I've been told that I'm very memeable. This photo was actually taken at AgentConf last year. I don't know what I was thinking, but this is very depressing. It's like I was listening to myself. Damn, son. Okay. So at a certain point, one of the ideas that I had was like, I've never made a Chrome extension. And this is when I figured out that you actually have to pay to make Chrome extensions. It's like €5, but damn. It's money. And so I wanted to learn how to make Chrome extensions. And I was just like, okay, so I can't think of anything that's actually useful. So I'm just going to make something stupid. And this was about the time of GDPR and all the plugins and the trackers and stuff. So I made a Chrome extension that literally what it does is that it explodes your entire website if, like, there's more than one tracker. You have no idea how hard this was to test. Every website has more than one tracker. It was incredibly hard to, like, find a website that did not have more than one tracker. It was incredibly hard. So that is the entire purpose of this Chrome extension, which you should never use because you literally lose access to the entire internet. Because it literally explodes with the internet. So I wanted to learn how to make a CLI. And one thing that really funny thing that happened last year here at AgentConf as well, was that when we went to LEC, Ravi, who's also speaking today, kept saying that we should watch this movie, but he couldn't really recommend it. And it was a movie called Mother. And if you've ever watched the movie Mother, you know exactly why you can't recommend it. It's really fucked up. It took like 10 engineers to slightly figure out what the fuck was going on with that movie. And for some reason, I went and I checked the reviews of that movie. And it's amazing. It's like no one has like a 5 out of 10 review. It's either a 0 or it's a 10. It's like, this is the worst piece of shit that was ever made, or you are a genius and I love you. But it's like very well detailed. So what I did when I wanted to learn how to make a CLI is that I just grabbed all the comments from the IMDb and I made a CLI that basically uses that as lorem ipsum. Because it's great. Swear to God, you need to see that. And yeah, so that's the entire purpose of that. Obviously, no one uses that. So sometimes, like, I make things just because I think the world that we live in as front-end developers is kind of dumb. And I want to make fun of the world that we live in. So one thing that I made was the NPM drinking game, which it's way harder than you think. You may think it's hard, but trust me, it's way harder. So the NPM drinking game, as the name suggests, you pick a word in English, because I had people who were like, just started saying words in Polish, and I was like, no, that doesn't count. So you pick a word in English, And if that word exists as an NPM package, you have to drink. If the word doesn't exist, you jump. But everything exists up to a point that is incredibly like, why, what the fuck? Who made this, and why did you make this? And so this basically, you put in a thing, it goes to the npm s.io repo API, and it tells you, does this exist? Do you have to drink? Do you not have to drink? And if it exists, it tells you what it is, so that you can kill your curiosity. I think one of the best ones is there's an npm package called tampon, and like it says like, when you need help to control your flow. That's literally the description. And I'm like, this is amazing. I don't know who made this, but I love you. Another thing that I did was actually at ReasonConf, when I was trying to install Reason in my computer, and I couldn't not install Reason in my computer. It tried for like 2 hours, Patrick. Do not even laugh at me. So I made this, which is make frontend shit again, which is basically a website, which is just a bunch of GIFs, as the name suggests. I think I can just show you, because this one is better if I show you. View, show, always show toolbar. That works. Make frontend shit again. Unless they took it down again. No, they didn't take it down. So this is the website, and there's also a Titanic music that plays. It's great. It's beautiful. And so the idea of this website was that, oh no, you're missing the best part, which is every time I try to get something from this website, I'm like, I'm gonna right-click the button, and then it's just like right-click is disabled. I'm like, fuck you, Sarah. Past Sarah is an asshole. And I can show you the NPM drinking game as well, which, yeah, so welcome to the NPM drinking game. The rules are simple. Write an English word in the input, and if it exists in the NPM registry, you must drink. Good luck. And so I'm just going to write tampon. And yeah, when you need to control your flow. I'm not even kidding right now. It's an actual thing. So pretty much everything is already a thing. So if I type like raccoon or something, it's a thing. An Arduino-compatible open source ecosystem for, damn, okay. I don't know. But you get my point. Everything on the NPM registry already exists. So I've done a lot of these things. I made one website once where the sole purpose of it was to, so there's this thing that people do in Portugal that is really dumb. It's like they go to you. I don't know why. Maybe this was just my old company. They would go to you and it's like, do you know that Christmas is on a Friday the 13th? And you'd be like, what? No, it's a Saturday. And you'd be like, it's on the 25th. And I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why are you? So I'm not sure what the link is. Yeah. So I made a website that literally just tells you, is Christmas on a Friday the 13th? And it says, no, it's a fucking Wednesday. It's a PWA, by the way. And there are a bunch of like really small, dumb things that I built. And now I'm just going to tell you that you get the idea. You get the idea that when I want to try and learn something, I usually go for something stupid. I usually go for something that people just look at it and be like, what? So the last thing that I did is, did you know there's 9,015 airports in the world? I do, because I scraped that shit out of Wikipedia. So you get the idea, and that's mainly my point. But I want to point out that all these things that I did, they actually made me a way better developer, because I've learned so many things that I probably would not have learned if I just kept doing to-do lists. Because doesn't matter how hard a to-do list, the idea is always the same, unless you're making like Wunderlist or something. So these things got me hired as a developer advocate. I mean, I didn't get hired because of the dumb shit that I made, but they basically made me a better developer so that I could get hired as a developer advocate, that I could actually get a job. That's great. So none of them changed the world, and as you can see, none of them made me rich, which is pretty obvious by my, you know. So, oh, actually, this is also pre-marked. So none of them actually made me rich, or none of them changed the world. But they gave me the skills to work on bigger things, and they made people smile, which is, to me, the most important thing. And they gave me the skills, they gave me a various set of skills that I can use in a very particular, it's from the movie. They gave me the skills so I can work on bigger things. So I have the ability to work on things that are actually way harder, that actually do help the world, make the world a better place. things that I believe make the world a better place. They may not actually make the world a better place, but are things that I believe that do. So making all of these things helped me become a developer and become a developer, just in general. So things like Code Sandbox. One of the things that I currently work on as an open source maintainer is Code Sandbox. If you've never used Code Sandbox, it's an online editor for Angular, React, Vue, whatever framework you use. We even have Ember. I think there's a bug in it, but you know what I mean. The thing about Code Sandbox is that if you're starting in CodePen and JSBin and all of those things that exist, this is not just Code Sandbox, is that if you want to start with anything, you need to learn how to work the CLI. We even have Reason. Like, you need to learn how to work the CLI. And actually, the first time that I actually managed to work with Reason was in Code Sandbox. And the thing is, this removes all of the hassle of trying, of like that step that you need to install things and tell someone who has never seen a terminal before that they need to npm install -g create React app. And they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I don't know. There's like a file that goes into a thing, and then it runs a thing, and it git clones the thing from the thing to your computer, and then you can run things. But Code Sandbox, just you go to a URL, you click on React, and you can now do React. You can do the same with Vue. And I feel like this actually helps lower the gap that we have right now in technology to get started with doing these things. And so I believe that Code Sandbox actually makes the world slightly better. Not in like, the world's going to be so much better, but like, a tiny fraction of people will be like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, yay, I helped with that. That button, I made it. Things like teaching people. I do a lot of workshops, and I run a meetup, and I do talks, and I couldn't have done that without all the skills that I got from just doing dumb things on the internet. From not being scared to put my code on the internet and just doing dumb things and let other people help me with the dumb things. And this, if you just want to teach people, that certainly makes the world a better place. There's no way, if you're just a terrible teacher, I mean, that could happen. But if you're a decent teacher, there's no way that teaching people will make the world a worse place. Things like speaking about mental health. So last year, I gave a talk about mental health. And one of the reasons that I could do that is because I was already doing these types of things, and I already had a lot of things on the internet, and people were like, she's an idiot. And I'm like, yes. And I was already not ashamed of the things that I made, so a part of me was just like, well, let's just talk about it. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, you don't have a reputation anymore, so it's fine. The trick is not have a reputation. I want to say that it's true. It's sad but true. So, I want to say that there is so much value in building dumb shit. It's not worthless. Just because something is useless, like Charlie said, it doesn't mean that it's worthless. There is so much value in building things that make other people smile, in building things that make you a better developer. There is value in anything that makes another human smile. That is the only thing, literally, that you can do in the world that will not fuck it up. You will make it slightly better. If you make something stupid and someone across the world smiles because of your stupid thing, you literally just made the world a better place. Because someone is happier because of a dumb thing that you made. You can make dumb things to learn, like I did, or sometimes it wasn't even to learn. It was just because, look at this thing. Both. You can make dumb things so you can make the world a better place. So you can make other people smile and make things that other people are like, you're so stupid. And I'm like, yeah, I am, it's fine. I don't have a reputation. That's cool. And yeah, so this is my talk, and all of my slides are at this domain. I bought this domain. Yes. I just want to point out that Namecheap does not tell you how many domains you have, and that's how they get you there. I'm pretty sure. They just have a list. And so all my slides are at builddumbshit.wtf. I'm going to put more stuff in it. They literally only work in full HD. That's it. So do not try to look at them on your phone, please. That would be great. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much. 36.
Thank you, Sarah. So, are there any questions?
Can I go?
No, wait
Oh,
a second.
come on. Why did you wait until I had the hope?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
From where the hell do you have so much time? Like, do you have social life?
I have a social life. Damn. I have like 3 friends, okay? I get bored very easily, and that's mostly the reason. So if I'm at home, I get bored like very easily. I don't have the habit of reading, so I either watch TV shows or I just make dumb things. So I think that's mostly why. It's just because I get bored very easily. I do have a social life. I do not have a partner, and I have a friend of mine who says that if I get a girlfriend, I will stop making things. And she's actually like, I think she's actively trying for me not to get one. It's like, but what about your things? And I'm like, shut up, Carolyn. She's real.
Great talk. 2 questions. How many domains do you own, and how do you pay for them?
I don't renew them automatically. That is also the trick. So if you go on Namecheap, which is the one that I use, not because it's cheap. I thought it was cheap, so I started using it. It's actually the same amount of money as the other ones. But, so the way you do that is that you don't renew the domains automatically. So after a year, they're dead. And they send you an email like saying, like, do you want to renew this? But the thing that I'm going to show you is that Namecheap does not tell you how many domains you have. But I can scroll if you want. That's all I got for you. I have a domain called, I have a domain which is Sarah.fail. And when it opens, it literally says, my name is Sarah, I need to stop buying domains. I made this on Code Sandbox. Tell me that it doesn't make the world a better place. I have one called innercircle.tech that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I think it's going to be great. I think it's just going to be a photo of Dan Abramov. Like, wait, where's Dan.church? Did everyone ever see this? It's great. I'm just going to make this, but with like Sarah Drasner or something. Any more questions? Comments? No? Cool. Oh, there is.
What is brainfuck.whatthefuck?
Oh, it's actually a podcast. Wait, what? Where is that? Brainfork.wtf is actually a podcast about tech and mental health. That's actually a real thing. I know, like no one expects it to be a real thing, but it's actually a real thing. Is the domain working? Yeah, it's a podcast about tech and mental health that I do with a friend of mine. That's actually not dumb. Weirdly enough, it was also called Brainfuck, but Apple declined us. Fucking Apple, man. So this is an app that if you're bored, just tells you things to do that I made with a friend of mine that's here, Elizabeth. So if you go here, so I'm bored, give me shit to do, and it just tells you to go do the thing, and then you click this 3,000 times, and you stop your computer from working properly. And that's about it. Cat is.life is a cat API. This is the domain for the thing. Developer.cache is not a thing yet. Is there Uber in? Tells you if there's Uber in the place you live. This is a workshop, GraphQL thing. Sarah.fail. This is just shitty horror movies, because that's my thing. I really like really horrible tech movies. Horrible horror movies and stuff. So this is what I got. Yeah. Some of them don't have anything in it yet. Any more questions? Don't attach your credit card to Namecheap.
This conference has been gradually getting better for me. The quality of the lineup is usually really, really good, and this is something I'm really saying thumbs up.
They're really trying to get speakers here that are pushing to the future of web technologies.
I just feel like it's a very community-driven conference. It also has a lot of quality, and people are just nice. Hi, my name is Sarah, and this is AgentConf in Dornbirn.
Amazing venue. Austria is beautiful. Meeting all of the people in the community and getting to go and hang out and ski.